We're about to go pick up a stock tank for the new goldfish pond. We've got to decide on a size between 100 and 300 gallons. And I think the 150 is going to be the best size. There's a 170 too, but that one is metal, galvanized, and we'd probably have to put a liner in it. Does it even fit on here?
I don't know.
The shape of these metal ones I think would actually fit in this space better, just because it's not so wide and it would give us more walking room around. But then we'd have to use a pond liner or we'd have to paint the inside of it. So these are the 300 gallons. These are obviously too round. You don't think these are too big?
I don't know.
You flip one over?
Ew. That's a rat.
What?
I don't think I've seen an actual rat at a store before. I don't think it's too big. Perfect.
I feel good as a fish. I feel good.
Good luck. Just hold it.
Is that better?
Yeah, you just have to hold it. It'll probably slide off.
Nope.
Do you want the cart?
No.
Okay.
The metal one was 6 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet.
I
This
think
one's like,
I think they're quite. The fish will like that. It's a little bit more round than the tartar.
yeah, bigger is better.
Yeah.
More is more.
More is more.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye. We are back, and now before we can actually bring the mini pond in, we need to do a little cleaning in this room, make some room for it, because it's pretty big.
It's not that big.
Definitely bigger than this one. And before we do that even, because it takes about an hour for the treatment, I'm gonna show you guys what I am doing to treat these goldfish that we got from Petco. This is gonna be their second treatment of 3. This is recommended from the container for the specific thing that I'm going to be treating. And 48 hours between each treatment, so today and then one more treatment will be all we need for these guys. And then they can go into the mini pond with these goldfish. But in the case of this pest, most people would use Praziquintal. This is what I actually picked up. So I got this online, and it's actually a pretty effective treatment, so I have read. People have pretty good success with this. They make a freshwater, like I have here, one for ponds that's basically just the same, but larger quantities. And they also make a saltwater version. Like it says on the back, it treats ick, fungus, mouth rot, flukes, costia, trichodina, which I've never experienced or never had experience with. But basically what this is a product and a neutralizer. And from what I understand, it's like an oxidant, sort of like hydrogen peroxide would act. It would sort of, I guess, oxidize the parasites, leading to their death. And then there is a neutralizer, which will basically break the treatment down into a non-toxic form, so they technically don't need a water change afterwards. But it comes with a bag of cocaine, a measuring spoon, and the treatment. This is the neutralizer. Wait, no, this is the treatment, and this is the neutralizer. 20 grams, and I think this is like 50 milliliters. Why? Focus, dude. Why is this camera so treats 220 gallons, but we're gonna be dividing that by 3 treatments, so do the math.
21.
This is gonna be very quick, but I basically just wanna show you guys how the treatment is done, and if it works, how simple it is, how non-toxic it is compared to Praziquintal. So we're just going to fill up, they said 1,000 milliliter container, or actually a liter, should be 1,000 milliliters. This is close enough. Basically just making a solution that's not so concentrated. Then we're going to, without dripping on anything important, over here. Speaking of dripping around, one of the main reasons why treatments don't work is if you're not careful in your treatment process. Say maybe you use a fish net and the fish net is able to trap some water. And you're treating something like ick, which has a free floating stage. It can easily live in water that's just trapped and you don't notice the water where it's at. So maybe you end up using some equipment or a fish net or something that is able to trap water. Like this fish net, is that you're able to get water up in here. And if you get infected water in a place that you can't get the treatment to, then it's just gonna reinfect your quarantined fish later on. Likewise with every other part of the tank, if you don't get the treatment into every crack and crevice, maybe there's part of a filter where you can't get the treatment to because you have to look out for places where treatment can't get to. Even when I put this in the tank, I'm gonna use a toothbrush and sort of make sure the treatment comes up the sides of the tank, like under the lip around the trim on the top, just to make sure there's no way for parasites to remain in the tank untreated. I'm just using alcohol and some paper towel to clean up this technically infected water right here. And if you have fish you're treating, obviously you wouldn't want to drip, like, so we're walking by other tanks and stuff, we wouldn't want to drip this water into another tank and possibly infect that tank. For what I'm doing, these are basically the same size. You don't have to have two different sizes. And since we're using a 10-gallon aquarium, the math is very simple on this. So for each 10 gallons, use the included dropper to measure 2¼ milliliters of part 1, 2¼ And then for every 10 gallons or 38 liters, measure 3/4 of a scoop. This is a 1 cc scoop. Kind of wish they would have given a scoop that was exactly the right measurement, but we're gonna try our best to do 3/4. Probably on the higher side is best. You can't over neutralize, but you could, you could over neutralize, but you can't really under neutralize. About 3/4 scoop, so there. So technically what I just did there was very bad because I moved infected water from this first treatment into the neutralized water.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
So really this water isn't, I should not have done that. Well, I'm gonna re-sterilize. This is something that I do occasionally. So I'm gonna sterilize these again. I'm going to dump this out, sterilize this again. We'll just use RO water so I don't have to dip this back into the tank. Okay, let's try this again and try not to contaminate our treatment. Another 3/4 scoop. Just for good measure, I'm going to sterilize these again. Now we mix. Cool. Now it says to pour the treatment over the surface of the water evenly. Highly aerated area. So we're gonna pour this into the tank. Well, so we were supposed to pour, I did this correctly the first time, but I forgot since I was filming. You're supposed to pour half of the solution around the surface, wait 5 minutes, and then pour the rest in. I poured the whole thing in, but I did it right the first time and nothing happened, so we did the whole container all at once. Hopefully that's all right. And then you wait 30 minutes for species like guppies, tetras, and barbs, danios. For other species, treatment can run up to 1 hour. Watch time closely. Apply part 2 slowly around the surface of the tank. Failure to apply new fin at the correct time can lead to fish loss. So you have to apply the part 2 basically an hour, or I guess sooner if you notice your fish are acting funny. So we're gonna set a timer for 1 hour, and then we'll put in the neutralizer once that's up. Obviously we'll keep an eye on them as they progress through the treatment, just to make sure they're okay. I noticed absolutely no side effects the first time, so I'm not really worried about having put the whole dose in at once instead of spreading it out to 2 doses 5 minutes later. This has just been a few minutes and they're still acting pretty normal. I'm just gonna take this little toothbrush and make sure I get the treatment water up along the sides, because as you can see there's little water droplets, you know, all along the edge. Even up along the top on the rim, there is water that could potentially have parasites in it, or some form of the parasite's life cycle. So we're just gonna take the toothbrush and just go at sides, make sure we get as best we can all the edges and all the surfaces along the top. If I'm gonna do a treatment on fish, I'm gonna make sure I'm not wasting my time and having to redo it because I missed a step or did something wrong. It's far easier to be more thorough the first time and not have to go back and do it a complete second time because it was done wrong the first time. We're going to be extremely thorough, and that way we won't accidentally infect our other fish. So now let's work on getting some of this stuff in this room, move that out of the way so we can fit our new mini pond in here. I think it's gonna work, but it's gonna feel really big. That's what she said. At least I think it will. Well, it will, compared to this little thing. That's what she said. And it'll feel big to the goldfish too. These little baby goldfish and koi, who are looking at their new home, being prepared. These guys are just little squeaks. This 150-gallon mini pond is gonna be like giant for these guys. Giant.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
That's not that bad. It's big, but that's like not that bad.
It's big!
Like, look at all this room we have. Nice. 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 That's a big one. Comparatively, they're gonna like this. We can get some big fish for this, guys. Big fish. Well, okay, not that big, but like, especially not for koi. Koi are pretty big, but. They even come with these drains at the bottom. Hopefully are watertight. Probably won't be using this drain, but then we'll just keep it. Oh wait, it's actually not that tight. Yeah, so you'd wanna make sure that works. Just a few cobwebs in here. We'll wipe it all down, probably spray it all down with some vinegar water just to get any of the manufacturing oils off that are on this thing. But yeah, this is the pond, guys, mini pond. Take a step back. There is a lot of water in this room, guys. Well, there will be even more water. Of course, let me know if you have any suggestions for fish for this, specific types of koi. We can do a lot of things in this new pond. These guys are still doing good. We've got about half an hour left, so we'll check back in when it's closer to the hour mark. Yuck. Some of you might notice that I'm a little OCD for things, and that's either gonna scratch an itch for you guys or it's gonna be kind of annoying. Once it's full of water, it's gonna be a little hard to move. 10 feet, 6 inches, so 5 feet, 3 inches. A little more this way. 26 and a half, 26. Wow, I was pretty good.
Perfect.
Looks good to me. That is pretty good timing. Everybody seems good. Hopefully that means the treatment worked. Obviously we don't want them to be like struggling, but I do kind of like to see something happening.
Can I do something real quick? What?
I told you not to do that.
Honestly, if they'd put like some food coloring in the, I don't want to say that. I don't want them to start coloring stuff just because it looks cool. I don't want to be skeptical. I want to be satisfied with the results. And as long as they don't show any continued symptoms of parasites, I will be satisfied. If not, I guess we have to try a more common approach, but that comes with the treatment being a little bit more toxic and the parasites can become resistant to certain medications if you're not following the full treatment protocol or you just get resistant parasites, which would be pretty annoying. So before I forget to put this neutralizer in, we're going to add the neutralizing solution. You know what I just realized? The directions say to use 1 liter of tank water in a separate container to mix part 1 and part 2. If part 1 is the treatment, obviously the treatment is going to kill whatever is in part 1, the part 1 mixture. I'm just guessing that the neutralizer isn't toxic enough to kill the parasites that's in the liter of water that you use to mix the neutralizer. So if you have water with parasites still in it and you're putting it back in after the hour, after the parasites in the tank and on the fish have been treated, aren't you just reintroducing parasites into the water? It actually should be fine this time because I used RO water to mix the neutralizer solution this time. The first time I didn't. And just before I did the treatment this time, I noticed some of the fish were twitching a little bit. So I'm wondering if the first treatment really didn't do anything because we had a liter of water untreated that we put back in the tank after the treatment. Does that make sense? Am I just overthinking this? Or does the part 2, the neutralizer, actually kill parasites as well? Because that wouldn't make sense. If they say to use 1 liter of tank water in a separate container to mix the treatment and the neutralizer, that blows my mind that they wouldn't have you use, like I just used tank water because it said and it's easiest. You just dip the container in and use the tank water. But now that you think about it, that would sort of defeat the whole purpose of not reintroducing parasites into the tank after the treatment. This is what I'm talking about. Look at this guy. He'll do this and then he'll just stop and I won't see it for like a day, 24 hours. He won't do it again. Wouldn't that be some kind of external parasites in the gills? Which at this point they should be dead and he's just getting them out. if the treatment's working. Like I said, I have heard really good things about this treatment from like actual fish people and not just like natural remedy stuff. I'm all for, absolutely all for natural remedies if they work or alleviate the problem. If they don't do anything even beneficial for the animal's health overall, then you shouldn't prescribe it as a treatment or even a remedy if it doesn't work. This, I have heard from legitimate sources, actually does work. I'll definitely keep you guys updated on the progress. If this works, then you can try it. If not, I'll let you know so you guys don't have to try it and waste your money and time and fish. Fish lives matter. What do you guys think I should use on the bottom, if anything? Do you think I should use a substrate, or do you think I should leave it a bare bottom? Bare bottom is easier to clean. Honestly, if you have enough filtration, it keeps the debris from settling in the bottom, and then the filter can pick it up. If you have gravel in the bottom, it's really just gonna be like a nutrient trap, and then so everything that falls is just gonna settle in there and it's not gonna be able to be picked up by the filter and cleaned out. We'll have to gravel vacuum that. I'm not really sure if I wanna do that or not. So let me know what you guys think. I could do like river pebbles, and then occasionally we'd have to blast those out and clean them a little bit. Maybe like this size. I'm leaning towards a bare bottom, but having some like really interesting hardscape. I actually want this thing to look good. A lot of these that I see are just like, sort of like how I have in the other one. We've just got like terracotta tile in here, these round little caves. We could probably put some of those in here, but I want this thing to be really cool and different. Honestly, what I would really like is to find a nice like tree trunk, a stump or something we can stick in here that's pretty substantial, maybe come out of the water a little bit. We can put maybe some mosses on there, some plants, air plants, some ferns even. We can put some ferns on it. Something that just would maybe come out of the water. Not that I'm really planning on putting turtles in here, but if we did something like that, like a big log or something, that would give the turtle like a basking spot, or even if it's an aquatic turtle, it would give the turtle a place to sort of like perch up on. So give me an idea, maybe send me some photos for some inspiration. You can send it to me on Instagram. Let me know about lighting too. For now, I've just got this like little hanging light, and that'll be fine temporarily because that's what the goldfish already had. But I really want something that's gonna light these fish up so we can see the colors and so that they really pop. But I think a really nice light is gonna really set these fish off. So any suggestions for a light for a pond with these dimensions would be really helpful. I think I wanna go ahead and get this thing filled up today. If we wanna add substrate later, we can add substrate later, but we'll get this thing filled. It's gonna take a minute for the water to warm up. It's pretty cold outside and we have a well. So once the water's warmed up, probably in a day or 48 hours, we can move the filter over, we can move the fish over, the plants, and then yeah, we'll see how these two tiny goldfish look in this giant pond. Definitely not filling this one with buckets, so let's go grab the garden hose. I'm actually 4. All filled up. And I noticed we had a little bit of a leak from the bulkhead around the front. Unfortunately, I didn't make sure this was good and tight before I filled it up. I would definitely recommend doing that. The main cap, the plug, was like hand tight, so I definitely could have tightened that more, but the bulkhead itself wasn't tight to the tank. So this was the biggest size wrench that I had, and I couldn't really get a great grip on that. So I think I've actually got it to stop dripping. For now it stopped, but I'd like to see if I can get a better wrench and tighten this fitting down so I can be sure that this won't leak again, because that wouldn't be good. It wasn't a really fast drip, but it was enough to be concerning. Like, this plastic isn't smooth, so if this was a smooth surface, a gasket in there wouldn't have a hard time seating in there, but since this plastic has like little tiny like micro fissures in the texture of it, it probably makes it hard to get a seal. So for the time being, I think that's solid, but it was just about full when I noticed that, so that would have been pretty annoying to have to drain this just to get the leaking to stop, but I think we're good. I think. I wonder what the 150 line is. Like, I wonder if 150 is at the very top or if technically 150 is lower than that, so not sure. That's a lot of water. That is gonna be really nice for all these fish. This is gonna look great, guys. I'm so excited for this. Really quickly, before I end the video, let me show you guys what we got for the 60 gallon. I will show these guys in more depth in a full video, but we went to the store and found some Kamaka rainbows. We've got 2 females and 2 males. We might need to get a couple more just because the males are kind of going at it, showing off and doing some territorial stuff. 1v1 isn't really a good setup for a peaceful tank, so we might have to get just a couple more. But their colors are pretty nice. They're not super common, I don't think, but they're really nice in blue, silver shimmers, and I think they're gonna complement the basmanis that I wanna get really well. Also, under this water lettuce is gonna be very hard to see, but in the back there, you might be able to see them. We got some glass catfish. I haven't kept these guys since I was really little, and we got 6 of these guys. Get them out in the light and they will be even cooler to see. I got some video footage when I was acclimating these guys when I brought them home, and you can see how the light really shimmers through their scales, and it's sort of rainbowy if it catches the right angle. Eventually these guys will get a little bit more adventurous and they'll come out more. I mean, they're actually pretty, to be honest, they're pretty out. The ones I've had in the past sort of stay in like caves or really dark spots in like, you know, the wood and stuff. If it wasn't so hard to see on camera with these water lettuces, the water lettuce roots hanging down, then you'd actually be able to see them. The light would probably hit them pretty good, but they also might not be there. They might be like more under there, which is fine too. I think the light will still get them there. But these rainbows with the red plants, we'll get some better shots later. And also the water needs to be, I need to clean this filter out and put some activated carbon in there. The water is definitely not bad in regards to tannins. I haven't done one water change since I filled this up, and this is really all that's going on in here with this wood in here. It's just a little green from some algae, some on the surface of the water and some on the surfaces around the tank, but some activated carbon in the filter will polish this water right up and it will be a little bit less yellow. But yeah, this tank's looking sweet. This was my first and sort of successful attempt at making a shorter video, but thanks for watching. We set up this mini pond today, and now we have some place to put some really awesome cold water fish and koi when we find them. So don't go anywhere. This channel is just getting started. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.